Hey everyone, it's Cameron from the Boys and Girls Club, and today I'm bringing you guys another Brainchild video. So today I took the time to actually research for about an hour now everything I could on social media. If you guys actually watched the Brainchild video, there was a video on social media that listed everything that you could possibly want to know about social media and even played some fun games with you. But me personally, I just want to get out to everybody who's watching this and everybody who follows the Boys and Girls Club to actually know what social media can do to a person mentally, physically, and I want them to know the statistics of social media before they jump right into it. So today, we're going to be dedicating this entire video to social media. So I'm just going to share with you what social media is in my eyes. Social media is a platform where people can use to post pictures, to broadcast news, to tell stories of others, like what you see in the news, and even for what I use social media for, to look at pictures of my family, to look at pictures of my family who don't even live in Massachusetts and who live in other countries. These are just some ways that people use social media and some ways that I can define social media. So now I'm just going to give you some statistics on social media that I kind of found very surprising in a way. So how many people use social media? So we have about 3.5 billion recorded users using social media. So that's about 45% of the world's population. That's very crazy. I actually thought it would be a little bit more, to be honest with you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the daily usage by generation. So the generations that we have documented right now are the millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. So about 90.4% of millennials, 77.5% of Gen X, and 48.2% of baby boomers. And that's in reference to the population of those generations, are active users of social media. So for example, for some people who don't get this statistic, if there were about 100 millennials on the planet, which is, I know, crazy, then 90% of those 100 millennials, so that's about 90 people, are participating in using social media. So again, the statistics are 90.4% of all millennials use social media, 77.5% of all Gen X population uses social media, and then 48.2% of all baby boomers uses social media. So that's a pretty staggering statistic, especially for the millennials part, which says 90.4%. That's a big chunk of their population. So the next statistic I have for you guys is how much time average is spent on social media. So 3 hours a day. That is crazy. 3 hours a day people spend on social media to look at photos, to catch up on the news, to post photos, to do whatever they need to on social media. But if you really want to look at it from another standpoint, from my standpoint, for example, 3 hours a day, that's just crazy. It's like watching a 3-hour movie. And I sometimes can't even get through a 3-hour movie like The Avengers, for example. That's just, it's crazy, it really is. So some positives with social media is that it really can, so before I even start the positives, social media is not all bad. Social media, it can be a very positive thing, but some people like me just like to look more at the negatives of it, just because it can influence someone's mental state or emotional state. So positives of it is to help promote brands. For example, you see ads all the time for Nike, Adidas, all these brands out there that are trying to promote themselves to get more customers. You see that on social media. So for brands such as big brands like Nike, or even small brands, they promote themselves on social media like Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, in order to get more people to attend or to actually buy into the brand that they're advertising. It can be used to shop. So Amazon or other companies like to use social media to promote, just like promoting their brands from the first little thing I said. But for this little different one is the fact that on these sites such as Instagram or Snapchat, have you ever seen an ad or an advertisement on somebody else's page saying blah blah blah, fashion over this, fashion over that, or do you want to buy a car for like $1,000 or stuff like that. So people actually use these platforms to shop for cars, clothes. I mean, I even saw a house ad once, which was outrageous, but I mean, they could still put it on there and people actually will buy into it. It can also even be used to watch, listen, or read the news. So I think the strongest positive aspect of social media is the fact that we're able to access the news on social media. So me personally, I go on Snapchat all the time and I follow Stay Tuned, and it gives us the biggest headlines for each day. So obviously with everything going on, a lot of it's about COVID-19, but I also like to look at the other news, such as basically stocks. I'm into that. I like to know about the stock market, the world economy, the economy of our nation going through something like this that's unprecedented. And basically, I'm the same. I use social media for news as well. It's very useful. It keeps me up to date, and it's not like I have to sign on to CNN every day and look at their news. I can just go run onto social media. So it's also very accessible to people. So now, obviously, some of the negatives with social media. Anxiety and depression for those who spend more than 2 hours a day. So the statistic I gave you earlier was that traditionally an average of the 3.5 billion people that use social media are on it 3 hours a day. So this statistic was given by scientists saying that anxiety and depression can be caused. Anxiety and depression, you can get these things by spending more than 2 hours on social media. So anxiety and depression is a very serious issue that we have in the United States and the world. And it's proven and linked to social media, along with other things, which is kind of crazy, to be honest with you, because these things affect so many people in so many ways. And this just leads right into my challenge for you. My biggest challenge for you is, please, 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 if you use social media, try to limit yourself as much as possible. Okay? So if you're using it for an hour, try to limit yourself to 30 to 40 minutes. If you're using it for, God forbid, 3 hours, then try to limit that by half. Just because social media can be a very negative impact, can make a very negative impact on younger children as well, because of things they see that they can't have. When I was growing up, I couldn't have most of the things I saw on social media, but I couldn't understand why I can't have it. I couldn't understand why people are having luxurious vacations every day and why I can't. So it's just small things that can affect different generations and different people and different age groups. So again, my challenge to you guys this week, and maybe even for the rest of the month or the year, is please limit yourself to at least half of the amount of time you're spending on social media, because honestly, it could really help you and it can make an impact on your social life and your health. This is Cameron from the Boys and Girls Club, and stay tuned for next Tuesday for another Brainchild video. Goodbye, guys.